Welcome back to the channel. This is dedicated to helping you grow in all areas of your life, mind, body, and soul. Here we blend self-development, stoicism, and spirituality to guide you toward becoming your most grounded, powerful, and fulfilled self. Whether you're here to find clarity, inner peace, or practical tools for transformation, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Why we struggle to let go. Have you ever found yourself clinging to something? A person, a past version of yourself, a dream, or even a painful memory, long after it stopped serving you? If you have, you're not alone. Letting go is one of the hardest things we face as human beings. It's not just about releasing what's toxic or outdated. It's about facing the terrifying silence that follows. It's about facing the unknown, and that, for many of us, is far scarier than staying stuck. But why is it so hard? We are wired for attachment. From the moment we are born, our survival depends on it. Emotional, physical, social. We cling because, on some level, it keeps us safe. Or at least that's the story we tell ourselves. But the truth is, the things we often hold on to, old identities, failed relationships, outcomes we can't control, end up controlling us. We carry them like heavy backpacks on a long journey, even when they're filled with stones. Sometimes, letting go feels like giving up. But in reality, it's a declaration of trust. Trust in life. Trust in yourself. Trust that what's meant for you will not require you to suffer to keep it. One of the strongest forces keeping us from letting go is the fear of the unknown. We often stay in unhealthy situations simply because they are familiar. We convince ourselves that, at least I know what to expect. That familiarity gives us a false sense of safety, even if we're miserable. Letting go means facing a future without a script. It means losing the comfort of predictability. And that's where fear comes in. Fear of being alone, fear of failure, fear that we won't find something better. But here's something to reflect on. You cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Letting go isn't about abandoning ship, it's about finally raising the anchor. Another reason we struggle is the illusion of control. We like to think we can control everything, our outcomes, how others treat us, even the timing of events in our lives. But that control is, more often than not, an illusion. What we call control is often just worry dressed in strategy. We replay conversations, plan every move, try to manipulate outcomes, and yet life still surprises us. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from understanding what is and isn't in your power. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your response to it. You can't control if someone loves you back, but you can choose how you love yourself. You can't control the past, but you can choose the meaning you assign to it. Both Stoic and Buddhist philosophies speak deeply about attachment and surrender. In Buddhism, suffering is often rooted in attachment, our grasping at permanence in a world that is always changing. The more tightly we hold on, the more we suffer. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This isn't passive resignation. It's active surrender. It's strength in softening. It's choosing peace over control. There's a paradox here that many don't realize until much later in life. Letting go gives you more peace than holding on ever could. When we let go, we create space, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Space for new relationships. Space for healing. Space for purpose and clarity. It doesn't mean forgetting. It means forgiving. It doesn't mean erasing. It means evolving. Letting go is not about having no emotions. It's about being free from the control of emotions that no longer serve you. Imagine holding a stone in your hand, fist clenched. You walk like this all day. Over time, your hand cramps, your arm aches, your entire body compensates for this one tight grip. But as soon as you open your hand, you're free. This is what happens when you release the things you're clinging to. Your mind relaxes. Your energy returns. Your spirit feels light again. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's weighing me down? Is it a version of myself I've outgrown? A relationship that no longer reflects who I am? An expectation that keeps me locked in anxiety? You don't need to have the answer today. But awareness is the first step. Even just realizing that you're gripping tightly is a beginning. Letting go is not about losing. It's about opening. It's about creating room for what you truly deserve. So breathe. Loosen your grip. You are not what you lost. You are what you choose to become now. Chapter 2: Understanding the psychology of attachment. Let's go deeper now. We've talked about why we struggle to let go, our tendency to cling, the fear of the unknown, the illusion of control. But what exactly is happening within us that makes letting go so hard? The answer lies in the psychology of attachment. Point 1. The roots of attachment. From childhood, we learn to associate safety with attachment. A baby cries and is comforted by their caregiver. As we grow, we start attaching not only to people but also to outcomes, routines, identities, and expectations. And when those things are threatened, a relationship ends, a plan falls apart, a version of ourselves no longer fits. Our nervous system responds with anxiety, fear, sometimes even panic. Psychologically, we've been wired to believe, if I can just hold on tight enough, I'll be safe. But this belief isn't true. In fact, the tighter we hold on, the more we suffer. This is why understanding how and why we attach is so important. Because we can't release what we don't even realize we're holding. Point 2. The role of limiting beliefs and trauma. Many of our strongest attachments are rooted in old wounds and limiting beliefs we carry from past experiences. For example, someone who was abandoned as a child might hold on to relationships far too long even when they're toxic. Someone who was constantly criticized may cling to perfectionism and overachievement to feel worthy. Someone who grew up in chaos might obsessively try to control every detail of life to feel safe. These attachments are not about what's happening now, they're about what already happened long ago. But the emotional imprint lingers. It's like carrying around a heavy backpack full of fears, memories, and assumptions. And we're so used to the weight that we forget it's there. We just keep walking, unaware that we could stop, and choose to take it off. Point 3. Signs you're holding on to something harmful. So how do you know if you're holding on to something you need to let go of? Here are some common signs. You feel drained after interacting with someone or thinking about a certain situation. You constantly replay conversations in your mind, imagining different outcomes. You feel a sense of guilt, obligation, or fear. If you even consider walking away, you tell yourself, maybe it'll change. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. You're afraid of the void, of what will be left if you let go. These patterns don't mean you're broken. They mean you're human. But they also mean there's an opportunity for healing, because whatever you're holding on to, a relationship, an expectation, a grudge, an identity, if it's weighing you down, it's okay to set it down. Point 4. The cost of holding on. Let's be clear. Attachment has a cost. It keeps you stuck. It clouds your judgment. It eats away at your energy and joy, and most painfully, it closes you off from the present moment. When you're busy gripping the past or obsessing over the future, you miss the beauty and possibilities of what's happening right now. In this way, attachment is like a clenched fist. Letting go is opening your hand. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you give up. It means you stop forcing. You stop grasping. You allow. Point 5. Self-awareness. The first step to freedom. All lasting change begins with awareness. That's the key. Start by asking yourself, what am I afraid to let go of right now? What belief is keeping me attached to this situation? What would I gain, emotionally, spiritually, if I released it? These are not easy questions. But they are powerful. When you get quiet, when you reflect deeply, the truth often rises to the surface. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. That's the moment your healing begins. Take a few seconds to sit with those questions. Breathe. Listen to what your heart says. In the next chapter, we'll explore what it really means to let go, not just in theory but in practice. We'll bring together Stoic principles and spiritual wisdom to help you build daily rituals that support release, trust, and inner peace. Remember, letting go is not about losing. It's about making space. And sometimes, that space is exactly what your soul has been longing for. Chapter 3. Letting Go in Practice, the Stoic and Spiritual Approach. Now that we understand the psychology of attachment and why it's so hard to let go, it's time to shift from insight to action. What does letting go actually look like in everyday life? How do we move from the idea of release to the embodiment of it? To find those answers, we'll look at two powerful traditions, Stoicism and spirituality. Though they come from different roots, both paths point toward the same truth, that peace isn't found through control but through surrender. 1. Amor fati, love your fate. Let's begin with a core Stoic principle, amor fati, or love of fate. This doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or never feeling pain. It means choosing to embrace reality as it is, even the hard parts, and trusting that there is meaning in all of it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That's amor fati. You don't just accept what happens, you use it. You transform it. You make it part of your growth. Letting go begins with this mindset. This wasn't what I wanted, but maybe it's what I needed. 2. Detachment is not equal to indifference. Many people confuse detachment with indifference. but they are not the same. Indifference says, I don't care what happens. Detachment says, I care deeply, but I don't cling to a specific outcome. This is a key difference. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what's within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, and to release everything else. When you live this way, you no longer chase certainty. You become grounded in your own choices, not in the chaos around you. Letting go then doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care wisely. 3. Spiritual surrender, trusting the flow of life. From a spiritual perspective, letting go means learning to trust the flow of life. To believe that you are guided, even when the path is unclear. This is called surrender. Not as in giving up, but as in giving over. You stop trying to force life to go your way. You align with something deeper, something bigger. It's like swimming with the current instead of fighting against it. In many spiritual traditions, this surrender is seen as a return to the divine, a remembering that you are held even when you feel lost. Whether you call it God, the universe, higher self, or simply life, the invitation is the same. Release your grip. You're safe to trust. 4. Daily rituals to practice letting go. Let's bring this down to earth. What can you do practically to cultivate the art of letting go? Here are 4 powerful rituals. Take 5 to 10 minutes a day to write freely. Ask yourself, what am I trying to control today? What can I release? What does my inner voice want me to know? Writing connects your conscious mind with your deeper wisdom. It helps you see patterns and recognize attachments that no longer serve you. Whether you're spiritual or not, setting a daily intention can be grounding. Say something like, today I choose to let go of what I cannot control. I trust that I am being guided. Speak it aloud. Whisper it. Write it on a sticky note. Let it anchor your day. Stillness is a teacher. Set a timer for just 5 minutes. Sit in silence. Focus on your breath. Let thoughts come and go. The point isn't to stop your mind, it's to observe it without clinging. Over time, this simple practice builds emotional resilience. You become less reactive and more centered. Reframing means choosing to see a challenge in a new light. For example, instead of, I failed, try, I learned something important. Instead of, they left me, try, space opened up for someone better aligned with my growth. Reframing is a practice of mental freedom. It reminds you, you don't have to believe every thought you think. 5. Letting go is a way of life. Ultimately, letting go is not a one-time act. It's a daily decision. Some days it will feel easy, other days impossible. But over time, as you release what weighs you down, you make room for something greater. Clarity, peace, strength, purpose. And this is the paradox of letting go. The less you grip, the more you gain. Letting go is a spiritual practice, a Stoic practice, a human practice. And like any practice, it gets easier with time. So today, release just one thing, a fear, a thought, an expectation. And trust that you're not losing, you're liberating. Chapter 4. What happens when you let go? So far, we've explored why we struggle to let go, the psychology behind our attachments, and practical ways to release what no longer serves us. But what comes after we let go? What happens when we finally loosen our grip? You might be surprised by the answer. Because letting go isn't just about loss. It's about making room for clarity, strength, and deep peace. In this chapter, we'll explore the profound inner changes that unfold once we stop holding on. Point 1. Emotional clarity and mental lightness. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack for hours, full of rocks, burdens, regrets, and fears. You've worn it so long you barely notice it anymore. Now imagine setting that backpack down. That sudden relief, that lightness, that's what happens when you let go emotionally. You begin to think more clearly. You're no longer weighed down by constant worry about what you can't control. You stop playing the same mental loops over and over again, because they've lost their power. Letting go gives your mind space to breathe. That it's not that problems disappear, but your relationship with them changes. You stop over-identifying with them. You begin to respond from awareness, not reactivity. This is where real transformation starts, in that spacious inner clarity. Point 2. You open the door to new growth when you hold on tightly to something, whether it's a person, an identity, or an outcome. You often do so out of fear. Fear of losing control, fear of the unknown, fear of failure. But what you don't realize is that this grip blocks your growth. Letting go doesn't mean you give up on your dreams. It means you make space for new ones to form. When you release what's no longer aligned with who you are becoming, you create room for something more authentic. Think of a tree that sheds its leaves in autumn. That it may look bare, but in truth, it's preparing for new life. letting go is your personal autumn. It's a sacred shedding. And yes, it can be uncomfortable, even painful. But on the other side of that surrender is expansion. Point 3. Real-life stories and metaphors. Let's pause for a moment and reflect through a few powerful metaphors and real-life examples. The heavy suitcase. Imagine you're running toward a flight gate, carrying 2 massive suitcases. They're filled with old clothes, things you no longer need, emotional baggage, and just as you're about to miss your plane, someone says, "You can board, but only if you leave those behind." Letting go is like that moment of decision. Do you keep dragging the past? Or do you trust that what's ahead is worth more than what you're holding? When your hand is clenched into a fist, it's full, but it's closed. Nothing can enter, nothing can flow. But when your hand is open, it's available. Letting go is choosing to live with open hands. To trust that life will bring you what you need when you need it. Consider Sarah, a woman who spent years stuck in a toxic job. She hated it, but stayed because it was stable, familiar. Eventually, the stress began affecting her health. She couldn't sleep. Her relationships suffered. Then one day she let go. She walked away, without a clear plan, just a deep knowing that she deserved more. Within 6 months she found a job that aligned with her values. She felt light, energized, alive. Letting go didn't break her. It freed her. Point 4. Letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. Our culture often praises control, toughness, and holding on at all costs. But there is deep, quiet strength in letting go. It takes courage to stop forcing things. It takes inner power to choose peace over pride. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Letting go isn't passive. It's an act of deep trust. It's saying, "I've done my part. Now I surrender the outcome." That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Point 5. You begin to align with flow. Letting go aligns you with what many spiritual traditions call flow, the natural rhythm of life. When you release resistance, life feels less like a fight and more like a dance. You start to notice synchronicities. You feel guided. You stop forcing what doesn't fit. This doesn't mean you stop working hard or setting goals. It means you stop clinging. You begin to collaborate with life, not wrestle it. You move through your days with more grace, more ease, and more presence. And that's the essence of peace. So, what happens when you let go? You clear your mind. You open your heart. You create space for growth. You rediscover your strength. You reconnect with life's natural flow. And perhaps most importantly, you realize that you were never meant to carry it all alone. Letting go is not the end. It's the beginning of freedom, clarity, and deep inner peace. Chapter 5. Living the Art of Letting Go. You've learned what it means to let go. You've seen the weight we carry, the roots of our attachments, and the transformation that follows release. Now comes the real challenge, not just understanding the art of letting go, but living it, embodying it, practicing it every single day. This chapter is your invitation to build a life rooted in flow, not force, where surrender is not a one-time act, but a way of being. Point 1. Letting go as a lifestyle. Letting go isn't something you do once, check off your list, and move on. It's a practice. A muscle you strengthen. A mindset you return to every time life asks you to choose between control and trust. It's in how you respond when things don't go your way. It's in how you react when people disappoint you. It's in the grace with which you allow life to change course, even when you don't understand it. Living the art of letting go means waking up every day and asking, what am I clinging to today that I no longer need? And then, with honesty, with courage, loosening your grip. Point 2. Embracing impermanence. Everything in life is changing. Constantly. This moment will pass. So will the next. The ancient Stoics knew this, and so did the great spiritual teachers. In Stoicism, this is called the principle of memento mori. Remember that you must die. Not to scare you, but to wake you up. Because when you truly understand that everything is temporary, you learn to stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. The beauty of a flower lies in its short bloom. The magic of a sunset is that it fades. When you embrace impermanence, you stop trying to freeze life, and instead, you show up fully for the moment. That is. Point 3. Handling setbacks with grace. Letting go doesn't mean life becomes easy. You'll still face challenges. People will leave. Plans will fail. You'll fall short. But how you meet those moments will change. Instead of resisting, you'll respond. Instead of panicking, you'll pause. Instead of spiraling, you'll breathe and return to presence. This is the power of living the art. When a door closes, you won't slam it. You'll bow to it and look for the window life just opened. When your ego gets bruised, you'll observe it and remember you are more than your image. Living this way doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more deeply but with less fear. Point 4. Creating systems that support surrender. To live this way consistently, you need supportive systems, not just willpower. Let's look at a few. Daily journaling. Ask yourself each morning, what do I need to release today? Write it down. Let it go. Evening reflection. Before bed, reflect. Where did I resist today? What can I do differently tomorrow? No judgment, just awareness. Digital detox days. The digital world keeps us in a loop of control, comparison, and overstimulation. One day off per week can reset your nervous system. Movement and breath work. Your body holds on to tension too. Gentle stretching, breath-focused practices, or even walking in silence can help release what words cannot. Mantras or affirmations. Choose one phrase to anchor you. Example, I let go of what I cannot control. I trust the unfolding of my path. These simple rituals, done consistently, become a sanctuary, reminding you to come home to yourself every day. Point 5. A life rooted in flow. When you start living this way, something incredible happens. You stop pushing so hard. You stop needing to prove so much. You stop resisting the present moment. You become like water, soft but strong, capable of adapting to any shape, flowing around obstacles, carving paths where none existed. You begin to live in tune with life instead of in conflict with it. You laugh more. You rest easier. You trust deeper. This is what peace feels like. So now I invite you, not just to understand the concept of letting go, but to live it. When fear tells you to hold on tighter, pause and ask, what am I afraid to feel? When life pushes you to the edge, soften instead of hardening. When you feel resistance, lean into surrender. Letting go is not a loss, it's the clearing that makes space for a better version of you. Let's end this chapter with a gentle affirmation. You can repeat it aloud, or silently in your heart. I am safe to let go. I trust that what is meant for me will find me. I release the need to control. I choose peace. I choose presence. I choose freedom. Breathe that in. Hold it. And let it go. Thank you for joining this episode. The art of letting go is not a destination. It's a daily practice, a loving relationship with change, and an open-hearted surrender to life as it is. You are stronger, freer, and more resilient than you think. Now go live it.